Hi, I'm Renda Hall with Family Tree Counseling. The title of my video today is Hope and Healing. I'd like to share something that I wrote many years ago as I was beginning my journey of recovery. I was searching for answers, I was looking for hope, and I was merely just trying to survive. I was broken and very shattered. I want to share this. I'm going to read it, and then I will share what I found out afterwards as I was going on my journey. So the title of it is Who Would Stay? Who would stay in a situation where they're not loved? The scared little girl would stay because of fear. She would stay because this is all she knows. From the time she was a small child, she would do anything and everything to please her mother, just to be accepted. She stays because more than anything, she just wants to be loved. She learned that pleasing came with pain and guilt. Nothing felt good enough, and she had to give more. Giving more came with greater pain and disappointment because she was still rejected. All she wanted was to be loved. No matter what she did, how well it was accomplished, it felt as if it was never enough. She was beaten, ridiculed, and emotionally traumatized, but she stayed because this was comfortable and familiar. This was all she knew. Always trying harder, but never good enough. The rebelling teenager would stay, determined she's not going to fail. There's been enough failures in life, and I'm not going to just throw in the towel and quit when things get hard. The rebelling teenager is determined to stay and fight the fight. How the hell did we make it this far? It's not because we gave up, it's because we dug down deep and pulled through. Determined to not let the stuff from our past beat us. We made it this far, and we're not going to quit now. The compassionate person would stay. This part stays because of the kids. She stays because she doesn't want their lives to be torn apart more than it already has. She stays because the kids have a bond with each other. We were a blended family, and it would have been devastating. She stays because somewhere deep down inside, there's hope that things will change. The realistic person would leave. She would realize how the negativity is affecting her, not only emotionally, but physically. She would realize all she was doing was hurting herself by stuffing her feelings and not taking care of her emotional needs. She would realize that she was teaching her daughter that it was perfectly okay not to stand up for what she believes, wants, or needs. The scared little girl is back in the same trap, trying to make it all work, all because she's afraid of being hurt. She's afraid of becoming what her mother destined her to be, a failure. So which one am I? I'm some sort of part of all of these. Scared to fulfill my mother's predetermined path, rebellious because I'm not a quitter. I have the drive to survive, even if it comes at a price. Compassionate because I see hope. I see the devastation it could potentially cause and do not want to bring more hurt to anyone. Realistic? Well, maybe not so much this person, because I am caught up in the hope that it can be different. I stay for the wrong reasons, concerned with others instead of myself, afraid of facing my truth. I am terrified of failure. In all actuality, fear of the unknown. This is comfortable and familiar for me. I'm good at this role. I cannot, while in this role, become what my mother stated. So why stay? Why stay in a relationship where there's no mutual value of partnership? Honestly, it was my own fears. So since this was written, I've learned that I was actually suffering from codependency. Sharing my true self was a problem for me because at the core of my relationship was the feeling that I was somehow defective, unlovable, and unworthy. And that was stemming from my emotional childhood trauma. Codependency is rooted in our ego programming from early childhood. That programming is a defense that the ego adapts to help us survive. It's based upon the feeling that we're somehow shameful, that we're defective, unworthy, and unlovable. Our codependent defense system is an attempt to protect us from being rejected, betrayed, and abandoned because of our unworthiness and our shameful being. So I had a fear of intimacy because I was wounded and emotionally traumatized as a child. I felt rejected and abandoned, and then I grew up in an emotional, dishonest society that didn't provide tools for healing. or healthy role models to teach me how to overcome my fear. My wounding in early childhood caused me to feel that something was wrong with me, and that's referred to as toxic shame. My parental role models taught me to keep up appearances and to hide that shame. As long as I continued reacting unconsciously, my childhood emotional wounds and intellectual programming kept repeating the same patterns. I kept getting involved with unavailable people. I kept setting myself up to be abandoned, to be betrayed, and be rejected. I kept looking for love in all the wrong places, in all the wrong faces. I had to learn to do things differently. I spent a lot of time exploring and healing my deepest childhood wounds. I had to develop a sense of self-worth and to become my own loving parent, to love my flaws, myself, my flaws and all. None of us are perfect in any form. We weren't created to be. I had to face my greatest fear of failing, which was holding me back from experiencing life. I had to rethink my negative core beliefs. And what that is I had to reprogram myself not to believe the lies about myself that I was taught as a child. I also had to forgive and clear away any resentments. I had to forgive my mom for being my mom. I had to forgive her because she did the best that she knew how. And even though I experienced a lot of emotional trauma, she was my mom. And so in order to move past it, I had to forgive her. I had to reprogram my mind and think differently and take different actions, different than the ones that I'd always taken. Finally, I had to create a new story. This allowed me to build a new self-identity, one that was weighted with self-love and includes recognitions of my own values. I realized that throughout all of my relationships, I was never a victim. The things that had happened were supposed to happen in the manner that they did in order for me to heal. It was the universe's gift to me so that I can become my true self. Now that I have this realization, I'm truly grateful. I've been able to heal the emotional trauma from my childhood and develop a sense of self that I'm happy with, which flows into all the aspects of my life. Codependency doesn't just go away. Recovery is deep work based on shifting our relationships with ourselves. We have to learn how to intervene with the disease in our own lives, to treat ourselves with more respect, to develop boundaries. We have to become responsible for our own wants and needs, and to begin to approach life with moderation. So there's 3 different primary approaches to healing from codependency. The first one is self-help. There's a lot of books out there on codependency, and you can get involved with those and read up on those and do the exercises in the books. The other one is group therapy. CODA, which is Codependence Anonymous, is a good place to start. It helped me with learning what codependency was and some guidelines on how to deal with it. And the other one is individual therapy. And individual therapy allows you to do your deep processing, especially when it's not appropriate to share it in a group or you have fears of sharing in groups. So many people find it helpful to participate in a combination of all 3 of these different treatment approaches because it offers something different in each one. It worked for me. I'm successful. I have been successful thus far in managing my codependency one day at a time. And you can too. If you need help with codependency, feel free to contact me. My information is at the bottom of this video. And thanks for watching.